Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to the Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a wife, a busy mom of three, and the founder of the cutting edge and award-winning supplement brand Accelerated Health Products. This podcast is more than just a source of information. It's a community for you and for those looking to optimize their health. I release new episodes every Monday and Tuesday live and a bonus one on Thursdays. So remember to subscribe and add to your playlist so you never miss a show, and join my free health group coaching on Telegram. There's no downside. I teach on a daily basis. I answer your questions. You meet other people. It's fantastic. The details are on my website, sarabantahealth.com. And my goal is to reach everyone who needs me with my message of healing. So if you could help me with that goal, share this podcast with a few friends or loved ones. Together, we can empower each other on our journey to optimal health. And what is the basis of optimal health? That is the topic today. You hear me mention ATP, ATP, ATP. That is what it is. Whether you're fighting your chronic disease, whether you're wanting to lose some weight, whether you're wanting to get some more brain power, it's all about ATP. So what is it? Adenosine triphosphate. It's the energy currency of your body. It's a molecule in every cell acting as a rechargeable battery that fuels all of your vital processes throughout the body. Without it, you die. So essentially, mitochondria holds the ATP. As mitochondria dies, you die. As you are able to recharge your ATP in your mitochondria, you're going to increase your longevity. It's really as simple as that. So this is what it's doing. ATP is essential for powering your cells' actions, from muscle contractions during your workouts to the electrical impulses in your brain. It is the driving force. Your metabolism relies on ATP to break down food into usable energy. And this I've talked about before, where there's that chasm between eating food and converting into energy. And if you take most obese people, they are eating a lot of food because they're not getting energy and they're searching that for energy. And because of the lack of conversion, what's going on in between this chasm, right? Between this, where the bridge is, we want to close that. We want that food to convert automatically into energy, into ATP. So when you eat, your body converts carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into ATP if it's healthy. And if it's not, there's something causing this chasm to get bigger and bigger. So that turns everything on, from your heartbeat to your digestive system. And it's also important for cell repair and growth. So when the cells get damaged, ATP creates the building blocks needed for repair. It also fuels the growth of new cells, which is essential for healing and overall health. Your liver uses ATP for detoxification. And you know, I talk about the importance of detoxification. I just had to do 2 liver flushes back to back because the first one didn't quite get everything out, and I could tell. And when I did the second one, I'm like, oh my gosh, there goes the inflammation. There goes the water retention. My energy shot up because it's so essential to be detoxing the body on a constant basis in this modern world with toxins all around us. And it's no longer a trendy thing to do to detox. It's something that you have to do for that optimal health. Well, part of it is to boost that ATP, but your liver uses ATP to detoxify the harmful substances for your body. And if your liver's suffering, then it's probably not producing enough ATP to do that job. That's why you got to go and do those flushes, right? So this can, if without that sufficient ATP, it's going to lead to a buildup of toxins. And if your liver's suffering, your overall health is suffering. Your immune system relies on ATP to produce the energy it needs to fight off those infections. White blood cells use ATP to move towards and destroy pathogens. There's a scan that I do, and I just got one done on myself to see if I had an infection going on or something, because there were some elevated enzymes in my body that didn't make sense. And when we did the scan, it showed, yes, I do have some viral activity that has been sparked by the spike protein. Spike protein's doing a lot of fun things in our bodies right now, you guys. So if you're having unexplained symptoms, that could be part of the problem. But what it also showed was that my immune system was doing its job. It was turned on, and it was fighting the infections. I don't feel sick. I didn't have an elevated temperature. I didn't even feel run down. I didn't even feel like my liver was suffering much at all. But that's because my ATP was healthy, and my body and my immune system is doing what it needed to do. So the ATP is needed to destroy those pathogens. Cancer cells, for instance, are very weak cells, right? So what happens? How does someone get cancer? Well, we all have cancer. My son had leukemia at the age of 9. So what we did, we tried to devitalize foreign pathogens, boost the immune system, increase that ATP so his own body could fight the disease. And that's what happens. So you want to strengthen that immune system, strengthen the mitochondrial health, increase that ATP to fight any chronic disease. And that's what the body's meant to do, right? So how does mitochondria relate to ATP? So you want to think of your cells as these little factories, each one powered by an extraordinary little engine called the mitochondrion, often called the powerhouse of the cells. They are central to how the body produces energy. And to understand this better, you want to see there's ATP inside the mitochondria. The mitochondria are tiny double membrane structures found in almost every cell of the body. Their role is to generate the energy, but they also help with other essential functions like regulating the cell cycle and cell growth, signaling, and cellular differentiation. And then the primary job of the mitochondria is to produce that ATP. So in a process of glycolysis, they talk about glycolysis, and that's not really where you want your cells to be, but that's the first step that happens outside the mitochondria in the cell's cytoplasm, where glucose is broken down into pyruvate, producing a small amount of ATP and something called NADH, which is another energy carrier. Pyruvate enters the mitochondria and then is converted into acetyl-CoA, releasing carbon dioxide and producing more NADH. Inside the mitochondrial matrix, the acetyl-CoA is processed in a cycle of reactions. I know I'm getting super scientific here, but I just want to go through the process here. The cycle produces more NADH and FADH2, another energy carrier, along with a small amount of ATP and carbon dioxide. Then there's a step that takes place in the inner mitochondrial membrane and the electron transport chain. So the NADH and the FADH2 deliver high energy electrons to the electron transport chain. And then as electrons travel through the chain, they release energy, which is used to pump protons across the inner membrane, across a proton gradient. The proton gradient, created by the electron transport chain, powers ATP synthesis, an enzyme that synthesizes the ATP from ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and inorganic phosphate. This is the step where most of the ATP is generated, making it the most significant part of cellular respiration. Okay, so why is this important? For energy levels. The efficiency of your mitochondria directly affects your energy levels, brain and body, going to work out, going to take a test. When the mitochondria are functioning well, they produce ample amounts, giving you the energy to stay active, do all the things you love to do. It also plays a role in maintaining the health of your cells. They help regulate the cell cycle and growth, which is vital for tissue repair and regeneration. And it's also, like I mentioned, very important for your metabolism. So enough ATP supports that healthy metabolism, and it will help your body burn more calories, manage your weight, reduce the risk of metabolic diseases. Mitochondrial function tends to decline with age. So this is why we die, right? With age, with a decline in ATP, you die, and you will slowly have more pains and less energy and less brain power, all of that. So supporting your mitochondria through diet, exercise, and supplements can optimize that ATP. And when you are looking at all of those things to optimize ATP, everything else goes away. You're not going to have the chronic diseases that so many people are suffering from. Alzheimer's is through the roof. Cancer rates are going through the roof. For people under the age of 50, cancer rates are going up. Lyme disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, all of that. And stress is a big driver of it. Guess what stress does? Stress lowers your ATP. Stress is going to tell the body, we've got to slow down everything, the metabolism, because I don't know when we're going to eat again. Okay, so what do you want to eat for your mitochondria? So it is really important. And unfortunately, now we are in a position where 70% of the American diet is not even real food. So that food, that processed food, is actually stealing ATP. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not like, okay, I'm going to go have a Twinkie and it's not good. I know it's not giving me any nutrients, but at least it's not going to hurt me. No, that's wrong. It's actually declining your health. It's actually slowly accelerating your aging because it's stealing ATP. And so some foods effectively convert into energy while others steal energy from you. So literally, I want you to start eating and taking note how you feel after your meal. You should not be bloated. You should not feel low energy. You should not feel like you want to take a nap. That is not normal. Okay, so I love when people say, oh, my green drink is making me bloated, but that's just part of the process and that's normal. No. So I first want to talk about protein. And we are, I talk a lot about prioritizing protein, whether you have been doing keto, low carb, paleo, whatever. There are even vegan. Most people are agreeing that protein is the most important macronutrient. And I feel like especially women are scared of protein. I don't know why, but it is the building blocks for your hair, your skin, your muscles, everything. And as we get older women, we need more protein. I need more protein than my daughters because their protein synthesis mechanisms work better than I do because they have more ATP than I do, probably because of age and digestion. As you get older, your digestion suffers. So that's also part of the problem. And liver health is also, most people, their livers get worse and worse and worse as they age unless you take care of it. And protein metabolism happens in the liver. So let's break this down. Why is protein so important? The mitochondria need a variety of proteins to build and maintain their structure. Protein makes up the outer and inner membranes as well as the matrix where many important biochemical reactions can't happen. And there are key proteins that, like the cytochrome C and ATP synthase, are essential for the electron transport chain and ATP production. And protein also plays a big role in repairing mitochondria when they get damaged. This keeps them working effectively. Enzymes that help fix the mitochondrial DNA are proteins that ensure mitochondria stay healthy. So it's just like when my body is fighting a virus and I don't know it, it's because the body's doing its job. The ATP is doing its job. It's repairing itself. I prioritize protein. I eat a ton of protein and I feel my best. I remember in college, my freshman year, the first semester, I was forced into one of these food cafeteria things that was vegan. I'd never really been vegan or really cared about any of that, all of a sudden after a couple of weeks, I'm like, why do I have a constant headache? I have a constant headache. All they fed us was tofu as the protein, or beans and rice. And back then I stayed low carb, but I was not getting the protein in that I needed. And then as soon as the next semester hit and I was moved to a more balanced cafeteria, my headaches went away. It was simple as that. So that shows you that protein is so essential for every part of the body. Proteins act as enzymes in the mitochondria, driving the reactions in the citric acid cycle, or the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain that produces ATP. Enzymes like NADH, dehydrogenase, and cytochrome C oxidase are crucial for converting nutrients into energy. That's the chasm from the food we take in to converting into energy. Where's this gap? If we don't have ATP, then that's not going to happen. But then guess what? We're so low in energy. What are we going to do? We're starving for energy. So we're starving for food because our brain thinks that food automatically converts to energy. But did you know that there are people that just fast for 40 days and just get sunlight, and sun is converted into energy? I'm not saying that you should be doing that, but my point is there's this conversion that we really need to optimize. And I'm trying to get this point across, that your unexplained weight gain, your inflammation, your chronic disease that you don't know where it came from, you want to look down to the energy factories of your cells. When we eat protein, it also breaks down into amino acids, which are essential for making these new mitochondrial proteins. That's why I like to take the perfect aminos, the complete essential amino acids. And I did a podcast and also an article on essential amino acids if you want to look more into this. But amino acids like leucine and glutamine are particularly important. They feed directly into the citric acid cycle, boosting that ATP production. Leucine, your brain gets triggered by a certain amount of leucine to build muscle and to start that protein synthesis process. That's why a lot of bodybuilders or workout people take a lot of leucine in their protein powders or their pre-workouts. So amino acids are essential. Now, if your liver isn't working, guess what? You eat protein and it doesn't get broken down into those amino acids. The liver is supposed to break it down into those amino acids and then rebuild what it needs, what amino acids it needs to go to the hair follicles, to go to your bicep muscles, whatever it is. And you need the proper ratios of amino acids. I've explained it like this before, where it's a bicycle. So if you're trying to build a bicycle and you have 2 handlebars, 3 seats, and 1 wheel, you're not making a bicycle, right? You have 0. You've got tons of amino acids. You've got tons of handlebars and seats, but not enough wheels. You don't get a bicycle. But guess what? All of that stuff, all of those amino acids go to do. They get stored as fat because they're not being used. It's like, well, I don't know what to do with this. That's what's wrong with a vegan diet, where the vegan proteins are not complete proteins. Animal protein it's feeding like feeds like. So animal meat feeds our meat. Okay. Now we're going to talk about more specific the different meats in a minute. But this is where the amino acid supply is very important, where it's coming from, and then also your liver health to be able to break down the proteins into amino acids and then rebuild. That happens in the liver. Okay, so it also, protein supports the mitochondrial biogenesis. The proteins like PGCA1 alpha helps create new mitochondria, and this process is called mitochondrial biogenesis. It turns on genes that are involved in energy metabolism, helping form new mitochondria and boosting that ATP production. Protein intake also influences hormones like insulin and growth factors, which play a role in mitochondrial biogenesis. Insulin helps cells take in glucose, providing the fuel for the needed energy production. Okay, so what happens when your cells, remember our fat cells are where our toxins are stored. we're taking in environmental toxins, fluoride, bromide, chlorine, lead, mercury, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the water we bathe in or go in the pool, all of it's being absorbed, right? Are the artificial sweeteners or the glyphosate, the GMOs that we're taking in our processed foods. What does our body do with those? It's not food, it's not fuel. So not only is it lowering ATP, but what that does is that the body's going to store those toxins in the fat cells. So then what happens when insulin tries to bring glucose into the cell for energy, the cell says, nope, go away. I'm overstuffed. I have no room for you. So you can actually create insulin resistance from toxins and not necessarily too much sugar or too much of a high glucose diet, right? So it's not just all about sugar when you're talking about insulin resistance, which then leads to heart disease, diabetes, PCOS, Alzheimer's, all of those metabolic diseases. So protein is a huge part in helping with the insulin and growth factors and mitochondrial biogenesis. So protein also helps with antioxidant protection. The mitochondria produce reactive oxygen species as byproducts of the ATP production. And the antioxidant proteins like superoxide dismutase or SOD, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase neutralize those ROSs and protect the mitochondria from damage. These proteins ensure that the mitochondria can continue doing and producing energy without being damaged by the oxidative stress. Oxidative stress leads to death, right? So we want to lower oxidative stress. Oxidative stress accelerates aging, gives you wrinkles, makes the hair fall out, all of those things. So we need those antioxidants. And then detoxifying proteins such as glutathione help remove the harmful substances that could damage the mitochondria. So detox enzymes keep toxins from building up and harming the mitochondrial function. Our bodies are working a lot harder than our ancestors with these toxins that we're being exposed to. So protein also improves overall cellular function. So regular protein turnover and synthesis are essential for maintaining that mitochondrial health. And a steady intake, that doesn't mean that you can eat protein today and not tomorrow or Thursday, but you've got to continually supply your body with healthy protein. It helps ensure that old damaged proteins are replaced with new functional ones. And this process helps cells adapt to metabolic demands and maintain overall health. Proteins also are involved in signaling pathways that help coordinate the mitochondrial activities with other cellular processes. For instance, mTOR, which is a key signaling protein. You hear a lot about mTOR in the fasting community. Some people say you don't want to turn on mTOR. Well, that's not true. It's like Goldilocks. You want the right amount. That regulates cell growth and metabolism based on nutrient availability, affecting the mitochondrial function. Effective communication between the mitochondria and the cell parts ensure that the energy production meets the cell's needs. Now, this is what I touched on a minute ago. Some proteins are better than others. This is why you don't want to be on a vegan diet. Now, if it's for religious reasons, that's one thing. If it's for environmental reasons, go do your research. Eating meat is actually more environmentally friendly than a vegan diet. But for optimal health, a vegan diet is very difficult to optimize. So my guess is you're not doing it correctly. And I've had family members that have been vegan. And finally, after years of doing that, why are my nails white? Why are my gums white? Why is my hair falling out? Why do I have insulin resistance? Well, because a vegan diet is not giving you the nutrients it needs. I have increased my protein intake. I've incorporated the accelerated copper. And I am someone that has suffered from anemia for most of my life. Same with my daughter. And I can tell you that my blood test was amazing when it comes to the hemoglobin and the anemia markers and all of that, the nutrition markers. It was like, I almost started crying because it was the first time, and I haven't done a blood test in a while, where I actually saw the fruits of my labor. And that's why proteins are not all the same. So for the optimal ATP and mitochondrial health, you want to focus on the wild animal protein that have minimal amyloid proteins and linoleic acid compared to meats like chicken, poultry, and conventionally raised beef. Now you're thinking, oh, chicken and turkey, they're the lean white meat. They're great for diets, for losing weight. Well, your liver's not breaking down those amino acids from the chicken into those amino acids to build your muscles. They are staying as these misfolded amyloid proteins that then get deposited in your joints, cause your gut pathogens to wreak havoc and stir up some more oxalates and detox issues and cause plaque to build in your brain, causing dementia and Alzheimer's. These amyloids have been worsened with the spike protein. When I was a child, eating chicken, not a big deal. We were in a different world. Now at the age of 48 in 2024, it is a big deal, and it's becoming more of a big deal now more than ever. You've got to be more vigilant. The good news is that the markets and these online ranches and farms are providing wild animal protein at very budget-friendly costs. And it's actually cheaper to eat that way versus going to McDonald's, especially in California. So you cannot use budget as an excuse for not eating these meats. Now, these meats, the chicken, poultry, and conventionally raised beef, are also packed with omega-6 inflammatory fats, particularly the harmful linoleic acid, and that is also causing inflammation throughout the body, not just for a day, but for up to 7 years. It's a highly unstable oil or acid in the body, leading to more oxidative stress, which guess what? Kills your ATP and causes accelerated aging. So this also causes the body to store more fat, lower overall ATP, and trigger a cascade of harmful effects. So this is really important. Focus on that wild animal protein. Lamb burgers, ground bison burgers, meatloaf, meatballs, just regular burgers, taco meat, all of that stuff. Very easy to make. Cook it like beef, cook it like ground turkey, or ribeyes. You can do bison ribeyes, rack of lamb, wild fish. Make sure you know where your fish is coming from, because you're eating what the animal ate. And farm-raised fish, full of linoleic acid, inflammatory fats. These fish are fed corn and soy. What fish is meant to eat corn and soy? There's something really wrong with that. Okay. So that's the protein. Protein is a huge key driver for increasing that ATP in the body. Next, you want to eliminate the processed foods. They severely lower your ATP production, reducing it to just 2 ATP per mitochondrion compared to the optimal 36. That's an 18 times difference. These foods create excessive waste, which halt the mitochondrial biogenesis, overwhelm the body's cleanup efforts, and this waste bogs down the entire system, resulting in less ATP, decreased mitochondrial biogenesis, dirtier mitochondria, and less energy at the cellular level. And remember, it's going to overstuff those fat cells. So then your body can't even take in the good stuff. Guess what else? Those processed foods kill your gut, cause leaky gut. One meal can cause leaky gut. And then you have that wild animal protein to try to make up for it the next meal, and your body's not going to absorb the good nutrients from that good, healthy meal when you're trying to be good, because of that one meal from processed foods. Now, you can use things like the leaky gut bundle or some of the butyrate supplements. I've got the sodium butyrate, the calcium magnesium butyrate, or the tributyrin X. Those are 3 options. And then the PC, which is my new favorite supplement, to help get your body back. When you do eat these foods and you get off track, it helps bring you back in the cellular detox powder. You have to use all of these things to get yourself back much quicker. But that processed foods isn't really worth it, right? I like to wake up feeling good the next day. So that's when I kind of think, okay, short-term versus long-term goals here. Can I bypass and say no to the processed foods and make a meal that is from really good ingredients that tastes almost better, and my body loves me for it and gives me the energy and shortens that chasm and bridges from food to energy so I feel great the next day. Okay, so you also want to eliminate the PUFAs, the polyunsaturated fats, especially from the processed foods found in imitation butter, salad dressings. You go to your favorite high-end restaurant in town, they're probably cutting their salad dressing with the PUFAs or canola oil, or even you're asking for, I just want vinegar and olive oil. That olive oil is probably partially canola oil. So you've got to be careful. It's in fried foods, poultry, pork, nuts, seeds, seed oils, fatty fish. I was just on a trip with my family, and my brother-in-law said, Sarah, why don't you eat pork? I said, well, pigs don't sweat. The toxins are in there. And people in my family have gotten giardia from pork. They're full of parasites and they're dirty, right? But they're also full of these polyunsaturated fats, and they're just inflammatory. So it doesn't matter about the calories. You can gain 3 pounds just from inflammation from having some of these foods and that include the polyunsaturated fats. So they include oils like safflower, grapeseed, sunflower, corn, cottonseed, soybean, rice bran, peanut, and canola oil. Those are the biggest culprits in linoleic acid. They're very unstable. Okay, so they have multiple double bonds in their carbon chains, unlike saturated fats. Saturated fats are the good fats. Who knew? We're told that they're the bad ones. But this structure makes them very fragile and prone to becoming inflammatory compounds, damaging the mitochondria, impairing ATP and your energy. They also inhibit fatty acid oxidation, beta oxidation, making your body less efficient at using the fat for fuel and leading to those larger fat cells and your body to make new fat cells. So even worse, these fats stay in the bodies for up to 6 years. Sugars in and out of the body within a day. These fats are doing damage over and over and over again. They're the gift that keeps on giving. So it's not worth it. Okay. What else do you want to do? You want to reduce the wrong estrogens. So we've talked about estrogen dominance. This isn't just something for menopausal women. This is for men. This is for young girls. This is I've seen it in my loved ones. So this is estrogen's good, right? But we should call this estrone dominance, because estrogen, there's 3 different kinds of estrogen. We're not talking about the good estrogen. There are lots of things in the environment that mimic estrogen and cause estrogen dominance. Stress causes estrogen dominance, all of that. But that can mess up with your mitochondria, the powerhouse of your cells. And when your body has too much estrogen or the wrong one, it creates a hormonal imbalance that impacts your cellular health, including your mitochondria. Symptoms: man boobs, weight gain, bad PMS, bad periods, bad hot flashes, all of that. Excess estrogen will lead to increased oxidative stress. This means more free radicals. They can damage the mitochondrial membrane, impair their function, and that they then can't produce the ATP efficiently. So then you feel tired and sluggish. So then what do? You're already gaining weight from the excess estrogen. You want to eat for more energy, but it doesn't work because that energy is not converting to ATP, right? So we've got to connect the dots here and make it so that our food is converted into energy. Then you're tired and sluggish. So high levels of estrogen can interfere with the natural balance of other hormones like progesterone and thyroid hormones, both of which are crucial for mitochondrial health. Progesterone supports mitochondrial function, while thyroid hormones obviously are essential for energy and weight loss and management. And when estrogen's too high, it throws these hormones off balance, further making your mitochondria's ability to produce energy. It's this domino effect. Bad estrogen also promotes inflammation, which can lead to chronic conditions that put strain on your mitochondria. That inflammation creates a hostile environment for these little energy producers, leading to more damage and less efficient energy production. So that estrogen dominance, you want to nip it in the bud. Get a blood test. And it's not just from too much estrogen. It could also be from too low of progesterone. You want it in a right ratio, about 400 to 1. And all of this is going to take a toll on your mitochondria. Okay, endotoxins. These nasty little toxins release harmful bacteria in your gut, and they can wreak havoc on your mitochondria. When your gut lining is compromised, these endotoxins leak into your bloodstream, triggering inflammation throughout the body. If you want to learn more about it, go back to Kiran Krishnan on my show. He's been on a few times. We get into endotoxins. It is a big deal. This is why you want to really strengthen your gut and make sure you're not eating those foods that could be triggering endotoxin release. But the inflammation damages your mitochondria. And when the mitochondria are under attack by the endotoxins, their ability to produce ATP is obviously lowered. So less energy for your body to function, leading to fatigue, other health issues, and the damage can impair the mitochondrial biogenesis. So this is all incorporated with that endotoxin exposure. And then you're not going to have that energy. So now we're going to get into the specific diet. So you want to avoid the sulfur foods. I've talked about this. It seems like more and more people need to adhere to this. The sulfur foods, the cruciferous vegetables, the DIM supplements, glutathione, MSM, NAC, all of these healthy supplements are full of sulfur. Well, they can overload the body's detox pathways, slowing down your metabolism and ATP and increasing inflammation. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, onions, garlic, egg yolks. So those are some foods to think about. Now, all of this is in my accelerated food guide, so you can check that out. It's free on the website. And you want to look at the oxalate foods, another group of foods that are supposedly healthy. And that's spinach, almonds, berries, kale, most nuts. These oxalates can slow down your thyroid function, which in turn slows ATP, metabolism, fat burning. And now more people are having histamine issues. So the spike protein has made oxalates, sulfur, and histamines even worse. So if you had just a little problem 4 years ago, you might have a big problem now. So you want to avoid the high histamine foods. That would be bone broth, avocados, bananas, all alcohol, fermented foods, aged cheese, all of those. That will help with your digestive system, support better insulin regulation, reduce inflammation, and help with your mitochondria. You want to exercise. Physical activity stimulates the production of new mitochondria, enhances their function. That's why you feel better after you work out. You work out, you expend a ton of energy, but it gives you energy. There's a reason. You're producing ATP. You want to avoid the toxins as much as possible, pesticides, heavy metals. On my scan, I had heavy metals come up. I'm like, what? I do everything to avoid heavy metals. I do all my detox, but something could be, in my air or in the water that I don't know about, or, being on a trip and flying and being in an environment that I'm not used to. I could have been exposed to something I'm not normally exposed to. So you want to choose organic foods as much as possible. Look at your makeup, look at your cleaning supplies. That is a big issue. Microplastics, make sure you're not having the table salt. You want to make sure most table salts have microplastics in it. That's just being stuffed into your fat cells. And then what does your body do? It just makes more fat cells and becomes insulin resistant because of all of these toxins. Water, you want to stay hydrated. It is essential for cellular processes, including mitochondria. You want to get enough sleep, easier said than done. That's when the body repairs and recharges. A lack of sleep can disrupt everything. Over the last couple of months, my sleep has suffered, and it's caused my stress to increase. Sleep and stress are interrelated, right? And when you're stressed, the body it wants to shut down. It wants to shut down energy production. It wants to hold on to fat cells because your body doesn't know if you're going to be chased by a tiger, facing a famine, or if you have a fight with your teenage daughter. Doesn't know the difference. It just knows stress. So you want to look at your stress. And I was talking to my family about this yesterday. download the apps for meditation or breathing and do some yoga, journaling, all of that. And this is something that I need to be doing myself. So you want to manage your stress. That will help with your ATP production. Okay, supplements. This is where we want to optimize, where we want to increase that ATP as much as possible to get the energy. At the age of 48, I have so much more energy than I did as a teenager or in college. And that's because of the supplements and my dietary choices and me being consistent with working out and focusing on sleep and all of the things. I'm not perfect and it's hard to balance everything. I'm a mom of 3. In the summer, I've got my college kids home. I'm a wife and I'm a business owner. There's a lot on my plate. So I have to do a lot of self-care, but the supplements are something that are a hard fact that I do every single day. Number 1 is the Cellular iodine. If you are one of the people out there that is not supplementing with Cellular iodine, you're probably iodine deficient. Iodine deficiency is the number 1 cause of mitochondrial failure. It's the number 1 cause of depression. It's the number 1 cause of hypothyroidism. It is a game changer. The iodine helps ATP go from 2 to 36. 18 times. It's crucial for producing the thyroid hormones, T2, T3, T4. We're going to have Dr. Amy Horneman back on talking about thyroid hormones, but you need that iodine molecule for the 2, 3, and 4 molecules of iodine in the T2, T3, and T4. So you're not getting it in your diet. And if you're not getting it in the salts are also full of microplastics, like I mentioned. So you're taking in these iodized salts thinking you're getting iodine, but you're just filling yourself with microplastics that are going to inhibit the absorption of the very little iodine that's in there. So that is something to think about. The iodine helps boost the ATP production. It helps with cellular detoxification from heavy metals, toxins, radiation that hinder the mitochondrial function, metabolism, weight loss, immunity, all of that. It displaces harmful substances like fluoride, chlorine, and bromide. So on the cells, you've got these iodine receptor sites, and if they don't have iodine in them, the body will take in fluoride, bromide, or chlorine because they look the same. They have the same structure. They're in the same family on the periodic table, and that will contribute to hypothyroidism, lower ATP, sluggish metabolism. It prevents the toxic load. So then it will, if the iodine's in those receptor sites, those other toxins won't have a place to sit and they'll get expelled out of the body. Iodine has also been shown to help mitigate the spike protein damage. So we're all seeing it, right? That is linked to mitochondrial damage. So that is another reason that it's really important. It also helps cleanse the blood so the body or the liver can do its job. It eliminates the toxins, it cleanses the liver, all of that. So remember, on the cell, you've got an iodolipid value, iodine and fat value on the cell membrane. You've got the iodine needed to produce the ATP inside the cell, and you've got iodine needed outside the cell to cleanse the blood and help with hormonal balance. So iodine is needed in every part of the body. So Cellular iodine is the only pure natural singlet active iodine, I-, suspended in alcohol and enhanced with scalar frequencies. So because of that form, it has increased bioavailability and absorbability. Most iodine supplements might be coming from toxic sources and achieve only 10 to 20% absorption. Next is the accelerated fast. This is replacing the keto, the accelerated keto. Accelerated fast has improved ingredients, improved sourcing. I'm so excited. You can feel the difference, but it is more than just a metabolism booster and fat burner. The ingredients help increase that ATP production, help you intermittent fast without stressing the body, so that you're getting the benefits of fasting, healing the gut, increasing ATP, increasing that brain power, and cleansing the liver on a daily basis, where that T4 is converting into the active free T3. So it is really important. I love it. curbs the cravings for the processed foods that you don't want to be eating anyways, and it helps with the metabolism. Next is the accelerated thyroid. Thyroid, like I said, if your thyroid is slow, everything's slow. ATP suffers. Accelerated thyroid is the only cutting edge natural thyroid supplement to comprehensively boost thyroid function. You will increase your ATP, but the ingredients include grass-fed thyroid glandular. Then we add in essential peptides, amino acids, and crucial nutrients for the thyroid. Plus, it includes this ancient Ayurvedic herb called Kanchanara, which I've been using for years, famous for detoxifying and thyroid supporting properties, but also helping with water retention, thyroid nodules, and then we add in extra amino acids for the thyroid. The ingredients have been shown to prevent fatty liver, improve wound healing, strengthen the connective tissues in the bones, increase the mood. Lots of people, once they fix their thyroid, they're like, I'm so happy I can get off my antidepressant. Most people on antidepressants have hypothyroidism. It also has been shown to improve digestion and all of that. So we enhance it with scalar frequencies. Those are the top three, but you can also use, because radiation lowers ATP and mitochondrial health, the accelerated nuclear radiation drops that will help combat the radiation in your body. So that's something to think about. And the accelerated cellular detox powder, love this stuff. It soaks up the toxins that we're kicking out from the accelerated silver or the accelerated iodine and get them out of the body quickly and effectively. 100% certified organic. And we, of course, enhance it with scalar frequencies to help detox from heavy metals, radiation, pesticides, food poisoning, alcohol, all of that. Now, lastly, I want to mention my Hiwi device, Hiwi Microgen. It is on the website, sarabantahealth.com, and it is a portable device that you can wear on your body all day long, when you're sleeping, when you're working out, when you're working. But it has over 60,000 different programs, including ones to enhance ATP and mitochondrial function, immune system, fat burning, thyroid health, all of that. So easy to use. The most cost-effective device I have ever come across. I've got machines that are very expensive, 32 times more expensive than this device. And I would choose this device because it's more effective. And the feedback I'm getting from people is amazing. They're like, oh my gosh, what is in this machine? The results in one day have been significant. So whether you have constipation, leaky gut, you're fighting a cold, even more chronic diseases, I can't make any claims. They've got programs for them. Over 60,000 different programs. So that is something that you can look into as well. So we talked about a lot. ATP is the foundation of your health. When it comes to weight loss, chronic disease, anything, you gotta focus on the ATP. Thanks for tuning in today. If you need my help with your health concerns, don't know where to start, reach out to me at sarabantahealth.com. I'm happy to put together a protocol for you and join my free group coaching on Telegram. There's no downside. I share daily tips and tools to improve your health, answer your questions. You'll be surrounded by a community of people who are on the same path. And the information's on my website, sarabantahealth.com. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Accelerated Health Products. And you can catch this podcast and all of my podcasts on over 100 platforms, including Spotify, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. Just search Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. I'm on a mission to share my healing message with everyone who's ready to listen and not those who aren't. Please help me with this goal. Share this podcast with some friends who might benefit. And remember, I'm live every Monday and Tuesday, a bonus one posted on Thursdays, and you can use coupon WELCOME10 to get 10% off your first order. Thanks again for joining us here, and have a great week.